Good evening, my friends, and welcome to the Space Game Junkie Podcast. I, as always, am your co-host, Brian, and joining me, as always, is your co-host, Jim.
I got nothing funny this week.
That's fine. You don't always have to be on. It's fine. There's no pressure.
I'm working on it.
That was the thing you did. No one else. No one else ever made you do that. That was the thing you started. So I mean, if you don't feel up to it, you don't feel up to it. Some days we don't feel up to it. That's fine. Also joining us is your co-host Spaz.
Hey, it's been a rough week the last couple of days, but hey.
Everything okay?
You know, still grieving over Aaron, to be honest.
Oh. Yeah, folks. This kind of makes this one a little timely, but a few days ago, Aaron Eisenberg, who played Nog on Deep Space Nine, passed away at the age of 50. And we are still, a lot of us are still hurting about it because we loved Nog, and I never got the chance to meet him, but everyone who met him said he was just a wonderful, genuine person. He was probably one of the nicest celebrities you could ever meet. Like Don Knotts level of nice, you know, like that freaking nice.
You could accuse him of being nice, and it would be accurate.
So
my last interaction with him was on Friday, to be honest.
Oh,
that was the last time I saw him on the Seventh World Discord, and you know, he was a great guy.
Right.
So yeah, it's a blow. It really is.
So he wasn't having any problem stuff. It was just like a sudden, one day, the next day.
The cause of death hasn't been revealed yet, at least not as we record this. But he had kidney problems all his life, and
which is why he was so short.
Yeah, the kid, he was born with one kidney, from my understanding.
Oh, so it's kind of like a Gary Coleman sort of thing, right? Like kidney stuff, and then you end up. I didn't realize that caused that.
He was not feeling well on Saturday afternoon, and that's when he was taken to the hospital in critical condition.
Yeah, apparently he had 2 kidney transplants. The most recent was just a few years ago, and
2015.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just a few years ago, and apparently it's not you're not expected to have a really long life when you have kidney issues, especially if you only have one. So it was still a shock. I mean, just the outpouring of love I've seen. Like, I've seen the most jaded Star Trek communities just like get together and be like, oh my God, it's amazing. So yeah, he was great by all intents and purposes. My own reaction with him was on the Star Post, excuse the language, shit posting Facebook group, which he was actually a member of, and he would actually comment.
Really? I didn't realize he was in there.
Yeah, he was in there, and he would actually regularly comment on the memes, especially if they were Nog related. So, it was like he was just so nice, and like everyone loved him, and like that post gets a lot of vitriol every now and again. That group, but like last few days he's just been like hugging, just a big group hug basically, like to get through it. So it's kind of weird because some celebrity deaths, they hit you harder than others, and this wasn't even
I think with Aaron's situation though, is he was so involved with the community and the fans which I think is why it was a little bit like. You have people that might be like Robin Williams, for example, was a huge influence, and you know he had like a very long life of just influencing a lot of people, right? I can't really say for sure what his interaction with his fan base and community was like, but with Aaron, I mean, like Spaz just said, you know, he was on their Discord Friday night interacting with folks, so it's like, that kind of can hit you a little harder, you know, especially when someone comes down to your level, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're just a little thrown sideways. Let's just say a little off kilter because of that.
At least we still got Will Wheaton, right?
Who knows for how long? I don't know.
Yikes.
There it was, Hunter. There it was. See, I had to wait a little while.
Wow.
But I finally got to spike it.
Anyway.
I'm here too.
And Hunter, your co-host Hunter. Welcome, Hunter. Hello.
I'm actually currently I am playing Star Trek Online. I am sitting in Quark's bar right now on Deep Space Nine, going over my duty.
Yeah, I'm installing it. Why not?
It just went there, by the way. But I got back in. I was actually about a week ago. I went ahead and reinstalled it and updated it, and it wasn't until the incident with Aaron that I was like, I'm gonna dive back in. And I actually that evening after the announcement early that morning, I went that evening in the game into Quark's bar, sat next to Morn, and I mourned with Morn over. It's cheesy, I know, but still.
No, that's a great episode of Deep Space Nine. Is Who Mourns for Morn? That is such a great episode. So that's fine.
So I'm sitting up on the upper deck of the promenade, just outside Quark's bar here at a table, and I can see over the railing, and there's the Klingon restaurant over yonder.
Oh,
on
wow!
The bottom level, and the guy is playing the accordion down there.
Oh wow! Okay, I gotta reinstall Star Trek Online just so I can get to Deep Space Nine.
Klingons had accordions. Do they have is there Klingon polka music?
The accordion is it's featured in one of the episodes of DS9 where the owner of the Klingon restaurant uses the Klingon accordion and sings. It's a joy to behold.
It's a Klingon thing. Yeah, it was
really. It's a Klingon opera with the Klingon version of the accordion.
And Sally, that's the only episode that we see the Klingon restaurant. They mention it a few times more, but we never see it again, which is just a shame. Because I like that guy. I
figured a Klingon accordion would be like a box full of tribbles with spikes, and you just kind of squeeze it, and the tribbles.
each end looks like a batleth. Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
No, it was actually really cute. So,
by the way, great context. That's some great Trek lore there, Jim. Good job.
Well, it's from the old series, so.
Well, no, but still, even in the new stuff, when they Worf even talks about it, he's like, they were a great enemy to the Empire and stuff like that.
The tribbles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they had a whole.
Many songs were sung about the great tribble hunt.
Yeah, they were an ecological menace that the Klingon Empire wiped out. They committed genocide on tribbles, which is.
It didn't last though.
No, it didn't, which is the fault of our intrepid Deep Space Nine crew. But yeah, so we should do a check-in on Star Trek Online. Maybe that'll be a podcast where we play it and talk about it. Would you be up for that, Hunter? I'd be down.
Hey, more blood wine.
Tribble side. Oh, damn memory. That's good. That's good. That's really, really good. So, folks, our topic tonight is our first space game. The first space game we really remember playing. I thought this would be fun because we're all different ages, so we're all going to have different answers. And I thought it'd be interesting to talk about what we remember about playing our first space game, what system was it on, what we liked about it, that sort of thing. So I'll get the ball rolling with me. We were talking about this earlier in the Discord, and I was gonna say Space Invaders because I remember playing it in the putt-putt in Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania when I was 5. But people were like, no, you can't include arcade games. I don't know why not, but fine. What do you guys think about that? Should we include arcade games? Should that count? I think it should count.
They're games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's games. So, but I think this first space game I really get into, because Space Invaders is a fairly simple thing. When you get right down to it, it's back and forth, shoot, shoot, shoot. I mean, it's fun. It's great. But the one I really got into was Lunar Lander, We've all played that, right? That's the game I have in the stream is a modern day homage to Lunar Lander. You know Lunar Lander, where you have the little lander and you gotta you have gravity and you gotta land it on the thing just right with a certain amount of fuel, or you'll crash. It took real skill to do it right, and I swear to God, my 6-year-old self did not have that skill. But I really wanted to do it, so I went back to the arcade, and I got it at home too. I got it on my first TRS-80. That's where I played it at home, which is a computer from Radio Shack for the kids in the audience who might not know what Radio Shack is. I honestly really miss Radio Shack, like a lot. So yeah, my answer is pretty much Lunar Lander, because it just was so engrossing to me. Like I had to really save these guys in the lander. I couldn't let them crash, so I really had to do a good job on getting them down to the surface. It was all up to me. So it really focused my very hyperactive 5-6-year-old brain in a way nothing had before, except maybe Star Trek or television in general. So, Jim, do you remember your first space game?
Well, Asteroids, Atari 2600.
Right. Classic.
But as far as a computer game,
it doesn't have to be a computer game. Asteroids counts.
Well, yeah, Asteroids counts. But I'm saying like up from that, right? Like out of console things. I'm trying to think of what, because like I had an Atari 800, but we didn't have like a ton of space games. Although there was Star Raiders, and I really did have a thing for that. Which is why I keep trying to talk somebody and make them Star Raiders.
I'm surprised. No, well, you know what? Wasn't there a Star Raiders back in like 2011, 2012 that was just terrible?
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah. It was control problems.
Yeah,
but
and yeah.
It's like when they tried to do like a remake of Sinistar, and they jacked that up too. It's just like, just don't. But anyway, I was over on the Hardlight Discord talking to some people, and I showed them, Star Ranger, and I was like, okay, could this be a mod? Could we get this into there? Like, could we do the map? And one of the guys was like, yeah, man, we can knock that map out in Lua. And so it actually sounds like a possibility that it could be a Free Space 2 mod.
How amazing would that be? Folks, if you're unaware, Star Raiders and ultimately Star Rangers, which we had a podcast about a few years ago, it's an amazing game. It doesn't really have a campaign. It's just you reacting to stressful situations. You're jumping around a map, and you have to make the map safe by jumping around, and you choose where you go. So you get to decide what's the bigger threat to the sector, and it's just really just great. You can actually go find the DOS version of Star Rangers, which is the same game. It's abandonware at this point. And just load that up on DOSBox. It's got some of the worst sound effects in any space game. But
they're terrible. Your shield's getting hit sounds like dice rolling in a cup.
Yeah, it's what is that old Boggle? Is that what? No. What's the game where you had to roll?
Was it Boggle or Fargle?
Boggle? Was it Boggle, the one with the dice in the dome? And it sounded.
I thought it was. Yeah.
But what was the one with the dice in the cup? Yeah, there was one with the dice in a cup as well, and that's exactly what.
Farkle? I think it was Farkle or.
Farkle, or also Yahtzee would count because that's also dice.
Yes, Yahtzee, another good one. Yes, so yeah, the sound effects are terrible, but the gameplay is still. Oh, how many years? 13 years later? No, 23 years later.
It's been some time.
It's been, what was it, 96? Oh my God. Yeah, so 23 years later, it's still a great game. There's video of it on the YouTube channel if you want to go watch. It's actually still fun and still holds up if you want to give it a try. I think you need a joystick for it. I think. But yeah, so Jim, you'd say Asteroids was your first?
Yeah.
Did you play it in Rebel Galaxy Outlaw? Did you play their Asteroids?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you win it?
Yeah. I kind of liked it. I haven't done really well at it. Like I played around with it, like, oh, there it is. Okay. Pew, pew, pew. I lost eventually. Right. But I haven't like gone back and made a thing of, unlike some people here.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was the first player to actually beat the high score in Starvenger. So, yeah.
I like kind of how they change things up, right? Because like some of the asteroids will actually like poop out a diamond, and then you pick those up. I guess they're just straight score though.
Those are straight score, but the issue is that if you go after them, there's a good chance you're going to run into something at the edge of the screen. So the winning technique is to not do that. Don't go after them unless they're really close.
Well, do they disappear if they go off the edge of the screen?
No, but they do have a lifetime before they disappear.
Oh. Hey,
What some people do is they let one small asteroid survive, and then they just wait. They wait, and then more alien ships will come in. They destroy those and get the score from that.
I tried
about
that's actually
4 or 5 levels.
I tried to
4 or 5 levels,
and
then you
high
wait.
score thing.
I tried to do that.
One little rock, and
I tried to do that, and I would always shoot the rock at when I was trying to shoot the flying saucer. I would always shoot the rock accidentally, every time. It was so frustrating. That's why I never got the high score.
It's not even the technique I used when I beat it, but it's a valid technique. I mean, other people have gotten much higher scores than I did just by doing it that way. 31,000, I think, was the highest I ever saw someone have.
Wow. That's insane. Because that game gets hard. It really gets hard. Jeez. So, Spaz, what about you? What is your first space game?
Funny enough, Jim already mentioned it. Because I had the Atari 800. I still have my Atari 800 and the XL, the Atari 800 XL. But Star Raiders was actually my first. And it was in the same year, because we got that, Asteroids, and Space Invaders all in the same year. So they all kind of count for me as being my first.
Did you ever get a hold of the Star Raiders 2? It was like an alpha of it. It never actually got finished. But it was basically Last Starfighter. Oh, yeah.
No, but I actually did get a hold of the Last Starfighter.
Okay, but so it's the same game. It's just
They repackaged it as the Last Starfighter game for the 800 XL. And yes, I do have that.
Wow.
Yeah, you know the reason that I had to buy an Atari is they had a computer shop like in the strip mall where my mom used to get groceries. And I'd wander over there and ogle this thing. And they had Crush, Crumble, and Chomp set up on that thing. And it was just like, I must own a computer now.
What is that? I never played
Crush,
that
Crumble,
one.
and Chomp was... did you ever play the Epix Movie Monster game? Which was like a Godzilla thing?
No, I didn't.
So that was on Commodore 64. Basically the same game. So it was on Apple IIe and Commodore and Atari. All three had it, and I forget who made it. Maybe it was Epix. But anyways, so Crush, Crumble, and Chomp was a turn-based Godzilla game that was what was that one that Kerberos made? That it was Kaiju A Go-Go. Imagine turn-based Kaiju A Go-Go.
Oh,
that's basically it.
Oh,
very primitive graphics, but you got to like make your own critter. It's like, okay, you have this many points. Do you want to buy, like lightning breath or toxic slime that you leave a trail of, or what do you want to do? And then the army would come fight you. And the way you got health back was stuffing people in your face. So you'd run around and eat crowds and try to fight the army.
She sounds pretty great.
It's pretty neat. Yeah. I mean, it's like why they're not making games like that now. I don't know. But I wish they would.
Yeah, they keep remaking all these other games. Why not that? That sounds like something I'd play if they remade it.
Well, have you ever played Ogre, the tabletop game, or there's the computer version?
I've played that new version of the video game. I've played the new version of that came out last year.
Yeah, so the deal with Ogre is you have one big unit that is one team, and then the other team is all the little tanks, right? And it's a thing of attrition, right? So it's like you shoot the Ogre in the tracks so it can't move as fast, or you shoot it in the guns so it can't shoot back, right? You could do a very similar thing with kaiju and like little army dudes. And I kind of gone over that in my head I used to have an Axis and Allies board game, and it had like all those little plastic tanks, and it was just like, okay, how can we make this work? And we tried on the tabletop, like trying to make some simple like kaiju versus army rules. It didn't really work out great, but we were like trying. And honestly, I would like to see like how there's the RPG maker kit. I want to see like a war game construction kit, like that actually was the name of a game back in the day. But
yes, it was
a war game maker. Like let me define. Like I can import 3D models, and like, okay, I brought some tanks in, and then I can put stats on the tanks and say what kind of guns they have and what they shoot, or do whatever, right? And it could be kind of like a tabletop simulator, but actually like bake some gameplay in. That would be kind of a neat thing to have. And then I could make my damn kaiju game. It would be good for prototyping things. That would be for sure.
It's kind of a shame that like there aren't more, like, because that game was big back in the day. Age of Rifles 2, the war game construction. I think both. Yeah, those are huge back in the day, if I recall. You'd think there'd still be an audience for that sort of thing. I mean, there are war games with editors and stuff, but it's not really the same.
Well, I think that would be a cool, like, make a framework for making games. The specific kinds of games, right? Like they could do an RTS construction kit kind of thing. Well, I guess Spring Engine kind of is that, but that requires that you actually know some programming and stuff, right? But I don't know. I mean, it would be a thing. Like you could have like an asset market for it. Hey, like I know how to make tanks. Okay, well, make some little 3D tanks, and then people can use them.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a fun. That would kind of be a fun co-op game too. Like you have one person be the monster, and then you have a couple different people being the army, trying to stop the monster. And then maybe have one player be like a random civilian trying to run away. Because every kaiju movie has those. You're like a 12-year-old boy.
Scientist. Scientist that's trying to like invent the doomsday weapon that will kill the monster. So you have to hunt the scientist down and kill his.
But you always have the 12-year-old. You gotta have the 12-year-old boy who befriends the monster and tries to tell everyone the monster is good.
Or alternately, the 12-year-old boy finds a giant robot like.
It's just a Japanese movie trope maker, game maker.
Absolutely. or better yet, scrap all that. I just want Robot Alchemist remade.
Yeah, I've been trying to track down a copy of that for my PS2, and it is not cheap.
It is.
There aren't many copies out there in the wild left to be found.
And they are expensive.
I might have one in the closet. I'll look.
Oh my God.
I'll send it.
I would play the hell out of that if you had it. Oh my God.
It's super jank, right? Like,
oh yeah, of course.
It really is.
But
of course.
Yeah, it's way jank, but
anyway. It can't be jankier than God, what was that mecha game on the PS2? Armored. There's like 6 of them.
Well, there's Armored Core, which is
Armored
a long
Core,
running series.
Armored Core. Everyone told me I should play Armored Core, so I got Armored Core, and I got the second one because everyone's like, "Oh, the second one's really great." No one told me it didn't use the sticks. No one told me you had to.
Very annoyed with that. The shoulder buttons. To look
Oh
up and
God,
down.
the
It's like,
shoulder
what planet are we on?
buttons. What were you thinking, people? Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah. Have you seen Mass Builder though? The game on
You know,
Steam?
I have it. I kickstarted it, so I have it, but I haven't played it yet.
Oh, it is. Oh, it's Armored Core, or at least seriously wants to be. Right? Like it needs everything that I've seen in it. You're fighting like little monster kaiju things or something. You're not fighting other robots. Maybe that changes later, but all the video that I've seen of it is that. But it's just like I'm watching video of people like building these mechs, and it goes down into minutia. You know, it's just like, okay, well, what kind of armor do you want on your ankles, and what color and what texture would you like that to be? And it's like you could spend entirely too much time like tricking out your mech to be exactly what. So,
AC.
hopefully it actually pays off, because they had that Daemon X Machina that just came out for the
Switch. Yeah,
And
which looked really good actually.
the stuff I'm seeing in the reviews is it's like it looks really good, but it's kind of like too easy, and the story gets in the way, kind of thing. It's just like we just want to fight. Like the game, right, is for PlayStation 3, and it's Armored Core Verdict Day.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's Verdict Day. Yeah, and it had online multiplayer and like team-based matches and stuff. It was
because I have a
something.
I have a PS3.
Yeah,
So-
go hunt down a copy of Verdict Day, because that's the best of the Armored Core games. Like
Really? Huh. Because AC Wraith is saying that he thinks the PS1 Armored Core games are the best ones. Well, they didn't have
yeah,
sticks.
well, he's been wrong before.
I'll have to play Mass Builder though, because I actually have it, and I'm looking.
Yeah,
forward.
Mass Builder's nice keyboard and mouse controls. It doesn't screw around.
Oh, that's good.
The mechs seem to feel a little bit too light. They're not like big stompy robots. It's more floaty robot stuff. But yeah, and I need to look in on that mecha game that's on PC. It's on Steam. I cannot think of what it
There's
is.
a
The one
few-
where you're flying all the time.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't think of what it is.
War Tech Fighters,
No, not that one. This is
Project Nimbus.
Yes, that's the one.
That one is really
Yeah, I need
good.
to look in on that.
That one is really good. I have played that one. That is really good. You will like that one. That one is really good.
Yeah, I've got it. I've played it, but they keep adding stuff to it. But I haven't looked in like a year to see, have they finished it or
On one of the streams a week or so ago, we played Mission Force Cyberstorm for like 4 hours. That was a blast.
Oh, wow.
That game still holds up. So that's always nice. So Hunter, what would you say? We haven't gotten to you yet. What would you say was your first space game?
I would probably venture to say Star Fox for the Super Nintendo.
Oh, really? I've actually never played it.
Just remember, I'm the youngest person here.
I know, but that's fine.
My entrance into the space game stuff didn't happen until much later. But yeah, I would say it was like the first space game that I played. But then after that, I definitely got into more stuff like, once I got the N64, I got into Rogue Squadron and but it wasn't until probably around the same time with Rogue Squadron when I got into the X-Wing games, honestly.
Did you start with the Windows 95 versions of those?
No, the discussion I think we've had in the past was my first experience was...
Right, Alliance. Right, Alliance. I'm sorry, I forgot.
the one that no one here liked.
No, that's not true. There's just a part of it we don't like. There's the rest of it that we do like.
It's a silly jab. It's just...
At some point, I'm going to have to play through that again, and this time remembering that you could shoot the pylons out of the way in that final Death Star run. Because the last time I did it, I didn't know that, and didn't have a good time.
Yeah, it wasn't it. I was playing that, Hunter, and you were like riding a shotgun or something, and then you were like, you can shoot those things, and it was like,
Yeah, I had the same reaction you did. I was like, "What? You can? You don't have to fly around them?
yeah,
Or
it's
through,
like,
what?
Like, what the hell does this game want from me?
Why didn't they tell me? Why didn't they have some kind of indicator, something?" Anyway,
You know how I found out?
you just shot it, and it worked.
One day I just shot it, and I was like, hey.
That's the best way to find things out in gaming. Like, hey, that did that. All right.
Yeah, it's like, hey, how can I interact with this? Shoot it.
That's what it boils down
look,
to.
a
And
flower. Shoot it.
Well, it's not so much brute forcing is I didn't know it could do that.
Yeah.
Like I was playing Cube World today, and I didn't know you could shoot trees and whatnot, and actually get things out of them. Crazy.
So, Brian, do you own Hardland?
What? My brain.
Hardland is like Cube World with the graphics of Breath of the Wild. Looks really, really good, but it's a Cube Landy kind.
Oh my god, I do.
Yeah, there you go. You need to stream that bad boy.
Real? What? Where did that come from?
Yeah, it finally came out. The developers disappeared for like 3 years, right? And everybody was like, "Oh no, the game's dead." And like nobody ever said a peep on the forums, right? It was just crickets, right? And everybody was like, "Oh well, looked great, could have been something." And then suddenly they came back and they're like, "Hey guys, game's done."
I'm gonna add this to the queue.
Yeah.
I will add it to the queue. I don't know how I own this. Apparently I do. Maybe I got it in a bundle. I don't know, but I will add this to the queue. So we had some people write in about what their first space games are, and we also have like a lot of games mentioned on social media and whatnot. So our good friend Jose, who shows up on almost every stream, thank you, Jose. He was saying his first space.
Jose?
He's saying that his first one, apart from Asteroids and Defender, I would say Defender counts. He's not sure if it counts.
Definitely.
I would say
Yeah,
Defender
it
counts.
Yeah.
But he was bringing out. Oh hey Jose, see, it's almost every stream he's here. Way.
Sorry, I can't help it.
You know what? No, we love that sort of thing around here. He was remembering his first space game that he probably got into was the original ASCII Trek game. You guys remember this one, right? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where you have the grid. Yeah, you have the grid, and your ship is like an E, and the Klingon ship is a K, and you have to like shoot a torpedo in this coordinate.
And you have to devote how much power you want to fire it with. And
Exactly.
The direction has to be right. Yeah.
And there were all
the 800XL.
Yeah, there were a lot of versions of that. Like the first one was like 73 or 74 was like the first one. Like super early. I mean, it makes sense. Star Trek was a big deal, but yeah, those were like some of the earliest computer games or video games. Video games, period, was those mainframe Trek games. And those are still playable. Like people are making them for, yeah, it's basically EGA Trek. It's almost EGA Trek is a prettified, more complex version of like Trek or Trek 73. EGA Trek is the one a lot of people remember because it's one of the more accessible ones. But yeah, they still make them for like you can get games like that for your phone and stuff now, and play them on your phone, and they still hold up because like they're serious tactical games, you know. and then there was Starfleet, which was a knockoff in its own way that had its own flair, you know. But that's a really good one. Is the classic Trek games from the way back. What the hell is a VT-100? Oh, it's a terminal. Wow, you are old. When was that? Like the early 80s? Something like that? Yeah, maybe late 70s?
The 80s weren't real.
Yeah, that was a weird time. Oh my God, you graduated high school.
Everybody thinks it was the 80s, but it was really the early 90s.
That's right.
Jose graduated from high school in 1980. Damn. I was still barely wiping my nose by 1980. I
was a year old, so yeah.
Yeah, my wife wasn't even born yet. So wow. Well, you don't act it, Jose. Well done. Just keep that kid in you. But yeah, Trek is a great one. That makes you God. Yeah, you are probably one of the oldest gamers I know then. Because I'm guessing you're what, almost 70 at this point, if my math is right?
No, man, he's like 57.
What?
Yeah. If he was 8 or...
18 in 1980.
Yeah.
He's 18 in 1980, so that's 1962.
So he'd be 10 years older than me.
58.
I'm 49.
He's 58. So, yeah. Okay, sorry.
All right.
That's still, you're still one of the oldest gamers I know.
You're almost 80. Thanks, Brian.
If you didn't feel old already.
Oh, and Robert also wrote in with pretty much the same game. Oh, God. The same game, Trek, but the first one was 1971. I didn't know that. I thought the first one was 1973. Wow. 1971.
Okay, so that's interesting. So, like, who was it, Jim? Okay, so Victor Lucas from Electric Playground has been doing his show for, like, the last 25 years, right?
Yeah, he started, longer than that. He started
longer than that,
95.
but... Well, yeah. So he's been doing, and he said, I was listening to this podcast interviewing him. He's been gaming since like the late 70s, early 80s himself, and he's like in his mid to late 50s as well. So like,
no, he's like about my age. He's 50ish. Yeah, because he was talking about his mom driving him down from Canada to get an Atari 2600. So. Yeah, said he was 8, and I was 10, so he might be younger than me, actually.
Memory leaked out there was a Vector Graphics Trek arcade game. It was for the Vectrex. It was the Star Trek the Motion Picture video game. And it was basically just you fighting Vector Klingons and going through wormholes over and over again. It was a lot of fun, though. But yeah, that was specific to the Vectrex computer set, the first quote unquote portable home video game machine, even though it weighed like 15 pounds. And
it was sort of portable. I mean,
it was kind of portable. Yeah.
Backpack portable kind of.
It had no batteries, like at all. Like you had to be in a place with an outlet. You couldn't just plop it down anywhere.
Hey, by the way, I looked him up. He was born in 68, so he's 2 years older.
Oh, wow. That's, 5 years older than me? Wow. So, yeah, that was for the Vectrex. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fun going down memory lane with all this stuff. And on social media, we got a lot of answers. Like, Vanguard I don't even remember Vanguard on the Atari 2600. Like, does anyone remember Vanguard? I do not remember Vanguard.
Oh, yes.
What was Vanguard?
So Vanguard was a scrolling shooter where you could fire in 4 different directions. I played it in the arcade too. Interesting thing about Vanguard was that it ripped off the Flash Gordon movies soundtrack for when the Hawkmen were attacking. That song. It was like straight up in Vanguard.
I'm looking it up.
I remember.
Oh God, that one. Okay, now I know. I see as soon as I see the image, I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it was in this very same vein as like Scramble. It had to have been made by the same.
Yeah. Oh God, I remember that one. Wow. Good call. I forgot about the name, but that's a good one. Jason on Facebook, Jason Jared says Sentinel Worlds 1 Future Magic. Did any of you guys play that one?
Yep.
Yeah, that was
That was only on Commodore 64, wasn't it?
No, I had it on PC.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's neat because the Tandy 1000EX had a 3-channel sound chip on it, and rather than the PC speakers 1 channel bleep bloop bloop, and so this game like specifically used the Tandy sound chip to get special music that the PC didn't have. I felt special when I played it on my Tandy. Did you finish that one? Because that one was a beast to finish. Yeah.
It was it was.
It was so hard. I'm still shocked I finished it. I don't even know how many hours I put into that thing, but like those last few battles on the ground, especially, were just so. If you guys haven't played it, yeah, the music was great, especially Bob, especially the orbital music. Remember the music when you'd go into orbit? I still chills. But Sentinel Worlds was great because it was like you had the space combat, which was great, but you'd go down on a planet and you'd have your party. It was kind of like Might and Magic, but it was space Might and Magic. So you'd like go down a planet or a space station or whatever, and you'd do this turn-based combat. And it was amazing and hard, and you would save scum all the time. And
what I remember was like the map was like a bunch of lines, and
it was a big grid. It was
like colored dots.
Yeah, exactly. It was a big grid, and your characters were just dots with photo with like up in the upper part. It was like a photo of your character and stats, and like their weapons and stuff. But yeah, you were just dots.
If you look in the stream chat, I threw it's time-stamped video of Vanguard playing that song.
Oh man, 1981.
It's like you'll know it instantly. Like, oh wait, that's the Hawkman.
It's so funny because when you guys said Orbital, I started thinking about the song from the end of the Mortal Kombat.
The movie or the show? I mean, the movie or the game?
Like
I never saw the movie.
At the end of the movie, it's like after they do the actual like Mortal Kombat theme song, and they're going back to like the temple or whatever, and like Orbital, there's a song by Orbital that's playing. Anyway,
let's play this for a second.
Grammarly does more than catch errors.
Damn it.
With Grammarly, you can find really good, perfect.
Must learn the ways of the ad block.
Damn, yeah.
Isn't it?
Damn, that is. Yeah, that's Queen right there. That's Queen's riff when they're
ripped them straight off. SNK, way to.
I wonder if they got away with it. I wonder if
they did.
Maybe they changed a note here. So Nicholas Carter mentioned Space Rogue, Origins 1989. Wasn't that a Chris Roberts joint? Space Rogue, the original one.
It was an Origin game, but I don't know if Chris was involved. It was interesting though. It was like a Ultima mixed with Elite kind of.
No, it was not Chris Roberts. I apologize. For some reason, I thought it was a Chris Roberts thing, but it wasn't. Thankfully, I tried playing it a couple years ago. I didn't play it back in the day. It doesn't really hold up, sadly. It even though you can buy it on GOG now, it doesn't really hold up at all. So, have any of you guys heard of a game called Sky Roads?
Roads.
Roads.
Need roads.
I have never heard of this game. Oh, it's from 1993. Oh my god, I do know this game. It's like a platform jumping space game from like 1989 or something. I'm gonna put an image in the stream chat. But yeah, you had to fly that little I don't know what you even call it, like hovercraft spaceship thing, from one platform to the next. It's kind of a racing game, really, but in space. And so you had to totally jump and everything. It was hard. It was good, but it was hard. I remember that one now. Now that I've seen an image of it, I totally remember that one. Damn, all these memories, you guys.
That kind of reminds me of the intro to Super Return of the Jedi for the Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
Was it because the arcade game Return of the Jedi started with a speeder bike level? Was it a similar thing?
No. So in Super Return of the Jedi, you're like in a speeder, not on a speeder bike, but you're in like a Luke Skywalker speeder.
Oh, okay.
And you're jumping over gaps, making your way to Jabba's palace.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen that.
So there's a little similarity there.
Oh. They came out around the same time, I think, like very late 80s, so that kind of makes sense. Wow.
I think Super Return of the Jedi was in the early 90s.
Oh, really? So
yeah,
maybe it kind of copied this then. Wow, Mike Dolan's first space game was Wing Commander Privateer. Ooh, do you hate yourself, Mike? I mean, if you're going to start with a space game, start with one of the hardest ones for its time. I would not wish that on anyone.
I keep forgetting that he was on the show, right? And every time I hear Mike Dolan, I'm like, oh my god, there's a monkey in the chat.
Yeah, well, what for what? Do you remember which game he worked on? Because I cannot for the life of me. I know you're right. I know he was a guest, but I cannot remember for what.
Yeah, I think it was the MMO bridge simulator thing.
I think you're right.
He's a math teacher, right?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. I'll have to look it up.
No, it wasn't that then. It was I can't remember what that game was. I have a mental picture of what it looks like, but I can't quite describe. But yeah.
I'm looking it up. Space Warfare Infinite. Episode 99. 99. That's a long time ago.
Feels like forever ago.
I don't know if the game still exists. Oh, yeah, well, I mean, the website's still there. Anyway, yeah, but man, your first game being Privateer, that must have been, I don't know, like, wouldn't that be really frustrating? Because, like, I kind of feel like Privateer expected you to have played Wing Commander 1 and 2 beforehand. You know? Like, you couldn't just... Privateer was not a game you could just jump into as your first space game. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, I think you'd hate space games if Privateer was your first space game. Because it's brutal. You know, it's a brutal game. So I don't know. So Greg over on Facebook also mentioned Star Fox. Apparently on the computer, his first game was Space Empires 3, which is a really great game.
Yeah, I think
got...
computer side, my first, I think it was Starflight.
You know what? Holy crap! Now that I'm thinking about it, sorry, Jim. You just triggered me when you said first computer game. I think the first space game that I played was not X-Wing Alliance.
What? Wait a minute. Record scratch sound effect. What?
I'm pretty sure the first space game was even worse than that.
What? Wait a minute. Okay, drop it on us. I'm gonna get in the bomb shelter.
Right. Can you guys think of a Star Wars space game that is worse than X-Wing Alliance?
The full motion video. The full motion. The full motion video one. Rebel Assault?
Rebel Assault 2. Yep.
Oh no. Oh no.
It was like one of those moments where you just have like a flash and like this memory bank just unloads. It's just like a deep dive memory that was like you forgot about completely, and all of a sudden something. It's like it's that trigger word that just like pulled it out.
Oh man.
You blocked it out. With good reason.
Oh wow. We've had a major breakthrough here in the Space Game Junkie podcast. Major.
I kind of wish I had forgotten that now.
You know what? You could wear that as a mark of pride that not only you survived Rebel Assault, you still liked space games after that. So that's something, you know.
I had the Sega CD version of that.
Oh boy.
I still have it.
Oh my God, really?
It was not great. I mean, it was probably one of the worst versions you could find of it. But
oh wow, yeah. Wow.
Someone in their infinite wisdom thought they were doing me a favor, and they got me the Mac version of Rebel Assault 2, and I'm like, I don't even freaking own a Mac. Like, how?
Why would they? What? Why would they buy you a Mac version, like without asking if you owned a Mac or your parents if they owned a? Okay, I don't know.
They got it at a flea. They got it at a flea market, and they're like, "Hey, Star Wars computer thing."
He likes this. Give it to Hunter. He likes this. Like, thanks. I can't use this.
I never asked for this.
Jim, I'm kind of with you. Going back to Starflight, that was my first DOS game. Was Starflight. Everything else before that was the TRS-80 on like. It was either everything I wrote in BASIC or on a cassette tape drive. So, yeah, Starflight was the first like super serious space game for me as well, I guess. Jose asks, who remembers Hard War? Come on. I think we all remember Hard War. That game is still amazing. But wait.
Yeah, I like Super at the time and can't get it to run now, so
I think you can get it to run with some fan patches.
Memories of what it would be.
I think you can get it to run with some fan patches. I got it running on Windows 7 a few years ago and did some videos of it. I don't know about Windows 10. I will have to try. But, oh my God, I didn't know Hard War turned 20 this year also. Oh my Lord. I remember walking into an electronics boutique and buying that for $12.99 new because it looked awesome. And I couldn't believe it was $13. And I think I still have my disc somewhere. Spaz, where do you keep all these systems that you have? Like your Ataris and your Sega CDs and where do you keep all this stuff?
It's not like they take up that much room.
I guess.
I don't have them on display or anything, but yeah.
Okay.
It's just I haven't moved that many times in the last 20 years or so. I had a couple of moves, but it was just stuff I would carry with me. So it's not like I had to get rid of, old consoles or the old media. So I still have the old discs. I have for the Atari 800 and XL. I still have the original cartridges. I mean, the Asteroids, the Star Raiders, Defender, Pac-Man. I got all of them still. So they never went away.
Wow. That's quite a collection. That's impressive. I wish I still had all that old stuff. I have nowhere to put it, but I kind of wish I still had that old stuff. Memory Leak Death brought. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, there was a period of time where I had a pretty nasty collection of gaming stuff and consoles as well. Like at one point, I had like all Nintendo consoles and PlayStations, but I think I've like refined my collection down to I own an original Xbox, a 360, and an Xbox One X. I have, coincidentally enough, I have the Wii and the Wii U, but those are for projects. And then I have a Retron 5. So like I kind of replaced all of those physical consoles with my Retron.
Yeah, I keep seeing the Retron in the gaming store across the street from me, and apparently they sell them at a pretty good clip. They're
not 100% accurate. Like they don't. They're not like 1-to-1, but they do capture most of the, because you can use the real controllers with them.
Yeah, that's impressive. That is really impressive. Yeah, Hard War, Jim, you should track it down. I think I might actually have a copy. If I'll see if I can get it to run. If so, I'll give it to you. Right. I shouldn't say that publicly, but it's not being sold anymore. It was being sold up until like a year ago, and now it's not being sold anymore. So it's abandonware again. Again. But it's a great game. It's a great, great game. Memory Leak Death brings up the Solar Winds games by, I believe those were Apogee, if I remember correctly. Did you guys ever hear play those? They were top down.
Think I did.
Yeah, they were top down space adventure games. Not to the scale of Starflight, but similar kind of vein. You had your ship. You had, I don't know. I think you had a pilot. I don't think you had a full crew, but it was Starflighty, but on a smaller scale, and it was a little more arcadey. Not as arcadey as like Star Control, but more arcadey than say, was it keyboard only? Well, a lot of stuff was keyboard only. I mean, you saw the game. You remember when we talked about gamepads? Gamepads for PC in the 90s? A joke. An actual joke. No one used gamepads. Yeah. Everyone used joysticks or mouse and keyboard. So that makes sense. Oh, wait, which Reach for the Stars, Bob? The first one or the... Oh, no, the later one was a Windows one, wasn't it? So I guess the first one. Yeah, that was... I tried to play the original Reach for the Stars a long time ago. It was almost incomprehensible. Oh, boy. So, we have had a fun trip down memory lane tonight. So now seems like a good time to wrap it up, I think. Oh, the voice is coming out? Do? Oh, go ahead.
Memory Leak Death, I see you in chat.
Uh-huh.
I'm just gonna persuade you to hop into STO with us at some point in time. I see your character still in the roster.
Oh.
I see Memory Leak Death. Come have some blood wine with me at Quirks.
Yeah, the whole Aaron Eisenberg tribute that they had in Star Trek Online the other day has kind of gotten a bunch of people interested in returning to STO.
Hey, he's down.
Oh, nice. Do we have a channel for it, or did we? I think we did at one time. Maybe we should put it back.
We do. I can bring it back out if it's not out.
I think it's in the archive.
It is, but I can bring it back out.
Yeah, awesome. Since people are playing it again, why the hell not?
It's actually empty. That's funny.
I think that's after we figured out how to archive channels. Like, I think we deleted it, and then we're like, we should try and save this stuff just in case we come back to it. Discord is great, but it's not like a forum where you could like archive and save stuff and stuff just stays there for later.
Well, I mean, you technically can now that we know how to, because
Yes.
we weren't doing it before.
Exactly. Oh, and and apparently my wife chimed in. Her first space game was Crystal Quest on the Mac. Thanks, honey. She loves that game. So, friends, we're going to wrap it up here. We've been trying to keep it to an hour because I think that's a better podcast length. But I've been trying to get some guests. I haven't heard back from them, but hopefully we'll get guests soon. But next week on the show, I had an idea for a topic because the decade is almost over. It is almost 2020. I really hope Sherry O'Terry gets to do her impersonation of Barbara Walters going, "This is 2020," when it turns 2020 next year. But I thought we'd have, and since the Emmys just happened, I kind of had a thought. We should kind of have our own award show for the best and worst of the decade. So Jose, she will love to hear you say that about Crystal Quest. I will mention that to her. So next week it's not gonna be like the Emmys or something where it's like 3 hours of awards and circle jerking, but we're gonna have something of a look back at the last decade of space games and look like what was the best, what was the worst, what was the most disappointing, what was the most surprising, what had the best soundtrack, what had the best writing. So it's kind of going to be kind of an award showy clinical look at the last decade because we're almost done. So what better time to talk about the last 10 years than now, I think. So that's going to be on the show next week. For the rest of the week, stream-wise, tomorrow... Oh, God, what are we playing tomorrow? Tomorrow we're playing Fantasy General 2 for the morning stream. Thursday we're returning to Far Cry 2 for the morning stream. These all start at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Then Thursday night we're returning to Dying Light because we had so much fun last week and, I didn't feel like we gave it its due because I ran out of steam, so we're just going to play some more of it. And then Friday, by much request, many people requested this. So we're going to start a brand new game of 3030 Death War Redo. Is going to be our Friday long play stream for the foreseeable future. If you haven't played 3030 Death War, it's going to be in the awards show next week as probably one of the best space games of the last 10 years. It is just that good. We talked about it last week on the show too, but it is just that good. So excited about that. And finally, I want to thank everyone who supports Space Game Junkie through things like Patreon, affiliate links, buying merch. We actually sold, I think, our first piece of merch within the last week. Awesome. So, folks, if you want to learn how to support Space Game Junkie and make this a full-time endeavor, which is what we're striving for, you can go to spacegamejunkie.com/support, and links for everything is there, Patreon, affiliate links, merch stores, all that stuff. But if you can't support financially, which totally get, engaging in the chat is great. Joining our Discord is fabulous. Leaving a comment on a video, review on the podcast on iTunes or whatever, all that kind of stuff. The podcast is on Spotify now. If that's your podcatcher of choice, we finally got it on Spotify because I did not know that was a thing until recently. So now if you want to listen to it on Spotify, you can. Thank you everyone for watching and for listening. And we will see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific time with some more Fantasy General 2. Have a great night, y'all. Bye-bye.